يسعدنا في هذه اللحظة أن ندعو السيد كبيل كومرا، وسيقدم لنا محاضرة بعنوان عروض بنك الكويت الوطني لدعم تمويل المشاريع والشراكة بين القطاعين العام والخاص. ويعد السيد كبيل كومرا نائب الرئيس التنفيذي رئيس تمويل المشاريع وخبير متخصص في هذا المجال لأكثر من 11 عاما ضمن مجموعة الخدمات المصرفية للشركات الأجنبية بنك الكويت الوطني.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to all of you for this third PPP conference. My name is Kapil Kumra. I'll be presenting the PPP offerings of the National Bank of Kuwait. I can see some faces which are not from Kuwait, so I'll do some introduction on NBK. Those who are in Kuwait, they know NBK very well. First, we'll give some brief on NBK, and then what is it that investors look for projects in Kuwait, and third, what are NBK offerings. NBK, as maybe some of you who are not familiar, is one of the largest banks in the GCC, and we are present in 13 countries with a very wide network. There's a market cap of about 28 billion, and our shares are listed on one Kuwait stock exchange with only one entity owning more than 5%. The purpose of today's presentation is to give a brief on our strengths and what investors look for projects in Kuwait and what can NBK do for the investors. To give a brief on NBK, we were established in 1952. We have a very strong balance sheet and assets of about $35 billion, a net worth of $16.5 billion, and last year we made a profit of about $2 billion. We are present in 13 countries with a very large network. We can attract developers from all over the globe for the PPP projects here. We enjoy very high credit ratings. I'll come to credit ratings later on. And the special feature of NBK is that we offer both conventional and Islamic finance. Islamic finance through our subsidiary India. We are committed to sustainability, and recently we came with a 500 million green bond. This bond was the first green issuance from Kuwait and was oversubscribed 3 times. We have been consistently ranked as the best bank in Kuwait. Global Finance has ranked us for the last 12 years as the best bank in Kuwait. Brand Finance has given us the #1 branding for the last 11 years from 2015 to 2025. We enjoy very strong credit ratings, single A from Standard & Poor's, long-term credit ratings, A+ from Fitch Ratings, and A1 from Moody's. Now, when we go and meet the international developers, the other day we went and spoke to some developers about the projects coming up in Kuwait. And the question they asked us, why should I invest in Kuwait? Why should I not invest in UAE? Why should I not invest in Qatar? What is so special about Kuwait? So what is so special about Kuwait? Can anybody say why we should come and invest in Kuwait? Why somebody should come and invest in Kuwait and not in Qatar? Well, we highlighted some of the things which are special, which the investor looks at and where we rank. So number one is the regulatory framework. So any investor would like to have a very strong regulatory framework. So Kuwait has one of the first few countries to set up a regulatory framework. We have a very clear law and executive regulations which clearly lay down the requirements and the framework for PPP. The second requirement by an investor is a bankable concession agreement, bankable PPP agreement. Now, what do you mean by bankable? What are the things that an investor looks when somebody wants to come? I think many of you have maybe invested also in been agreed on the main key issues which we look at. Number one, there should be a balanced liability regime. There should be more of a partnership rather than an employer-employee relationship. The liability should be balanced between both the parties. Number two, there should be appropriate protections for the project company in case of risks which are beyond their control. In case of force majeure, in case of government risk events. Number three, the agreements should be taken care of change of law. They should provide adequate clauses for change of law. Number four, there should be fair termination events for buyer and seller. Number five, there should be a fair termination compensation regime. I'm happy to say that our contracts, which we have signed, particularly for the utility sector, meet most of these requirements. And in case there are some things to discuss, we are able to mutually discuss them. So these are quite bankable contracts, as you can see, of a lot of interest that investors have in these projects. The number third requirement of the investors is on the government's scope. They expect the government of Kuwait to give a guarantee for the obligations of ministry. Like in some of the countries, governments of the countries give a guarantee that they will, all the termination payments, all the capacity payments will be supported by the guarantee. But in Kuwait, there is no guarantee from the state of Kuwait. However, these are all funded by the government related entities from the ministries, which are deeply involved in procurement and which go through the every process of the tender, showing full commitment to those projects. Number four is a requirement for funding. Who will be funding the projects? Banks in Kuwait, we have a strong deposit position and external asset base. So we are very keen to support these projects with an adequate funding, I assure you, from all the banks in Kuwait for such projects. So overall, our projects in Kuwait are very effective, they are very bankable, and they score much higher than some of the projects which are launched by our neighboring countries. Now, what is NBK's value proposition? This slide will give you an idea about what NBK can offer. So, an investor, NBK can offer project finance services, which involves arranging the funding from multi-source funding. We can provide help in arranging both conventional and Islamic facilities locally and throughout the region. We can provide special kind of financing such as equity bridge loans, mezzanine loans. We can also help in structuring and providing interest rate hedging. We can do syndications of the loans. If you have a big requirement, we can syndicate the loans both locally and cross-border. And we can provide an agency loan. We can act as a facility agent, security agent, escrow agent, and all that.
Now, what do we do for project financing? Which are the sectors which we focus on? We focus on power, both renewables and conventional. We focus on oil and gas, all upstream, midstreams, and downstream. And we focus on infrastructure, sewage treatment plants, telecommunications, airports, and social infrastructure. So we have a specialized project financing department in NBK, which provides different kind of services such as risk evaluation, as risk mitigation, detailed financial modeling, and sensitivity analysis, taking an active role in negotiations of the project agreements, financial structuring, interest rate hedging facilities along with our treasury team, multi-source funding with our ECAs. We have help in arranging and underwriting bank financing and syndicating loans both locally and cross-border. We have very good relationships with multilateral development banks, with export credit agencies such as SACE. And if somebody is interested, any developer is interested in taking a SACE financing, we can arrange those financings under SACE cover also. On the syndication services, we regularly act as a book runner, as an MLA, mandated lead arranger, and documentation bank, and on a number of facilities. We also play the role of structuring and executing deals. There's a one point of contact for all your services. We have been regularly syndicating loans. Last year, we syndicated a major loan for one of the subsidiaries of KPC in Netherlands. We have also been involved in receivable discounting and structured facilities through our syndication desk. We have a specialized agency team, and our agency team unit head is with us here, Mr. Khalid Wabani, which provides a number of agency services such as facility agent, conventional agent, escrow agent, account bank. So these are the major services which the bank provides. In case anybody wants to get in touch with us, my contacts are given here. And if you have any questions on our services, I'm willing to take. Thank you. I just wanted to add on something that we have a specialized treasury department also, which provides interest rate hedging services and other solutions. If you're interested in having an interest rate hedging for to support your bids, you're most welcome to contact us, and we can provide those services through our treasury department. These are some of the transactions which we have syndicated, arranged. This is for your reference. In case there are any questions, I'm willing to take them. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be happy to take. Please come.
Thank you very much for your presentation, my dear. But one thing caught my attention is, do you believe this PPP law, the current one, is advanced enough in order to be aligned with the new progress? I do believe PPP's law need to be robust and changing. So based on your perspective, where do you see changes that should be done to make the transactions easier and time get shorter? Thank you.
Well, I think it's a very important and deep question which Dr. Khalid has asked me. Well, I believe there are some amendments which are being proposed in the PPP law and which are under consideration and which are being reviewed. They have been there in the pipeline for a number of years. Generally, we feel that the most important point, which is a limitation in the current PPP law, is a too much involvement from the audit bureau, and the approval of audit bureau before the preferred bidder is announced, and which takes a lot of time. And normally in the other countries, the audit bureau gets involved only after the preferred bidder is announced, and it is done as an audit, not as a pre-engagement. So this is an area which I think we have been requesting CAP to look at to speed up the framework. There are some proposals which are very unique and special in our PPP law, which we will not find in other laws in the region. Like they provide for step-in rights for the lenders very clearly, and which are very beneficial, and there are very clear security mechanisms which are provided under the law. So we believe there's of course some scope for improvement, and we have been requesting CAP to look at it, but generally it's quite a strong and effective. Our contact details are given here, and we'll be very happy to welcome any of the developers who are interested in bidding for the projects. We have a track record of supporting these projects. We have been involved in As you might have seen, that we were the only commercial lender in Shamal al-Zur financing. We have arranged Sulevia wastewater treatment project financing, and even the agency functions and the monitoring and management of the account has been done by NBK. So we have been involved in bidding of nearly all the PP projects in the country. So any developer, anybody who would like to be bid for it is most welcome to come and meet us, and we can explain our services in more detail. Is anybody else who would like to ask any question?
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for the introduction. But yesterday we were talking about some obstacles and some challenges. Now when you market any project in Kuwait for external, participants, let's say, do you emphasize or at least clarify the challenge that it might be met in such cases? Why? Because, you don't want to lose your credibility when you sell. Bright side, but there are some obstacles. Role when you talk about marketed and syndicated loan, do you put kind of things?
We try to give a full and honest representation on all the challenges which will be there. See, in case there are some, in some projects with the climate change, there's a less appetite for certain category of projects. Like if you come with gas-based power projects, there's a very small appetite for banks to finance that projects. So we do highlight what are the mechanisms which are there, which can take care. Some of the banks would like to have some decarbonization element put in those projects. So we do highlight what the government is doing for decarbonization, what is the government policy, and what are the probabilities that these things will happen. And the pool of funding which is available for the traditional projects is limited. And as you might have seen, there are very limited bids which are being made for combined cycle power projects or fossil-based fuel projects in the region. We do highlight the limitations which are there, what can be done, whether it to be practical to raise this kind of financing or not. But there's a great demand for renewable power projects, for sustainable waste treatment energy projects, for wastewater treatment projects, and because now the world is moving towards sustainability. So we do try to highlight all the concerns which are there from the banks to the best of our knowledge.
Allow me for another one. Now, with the challenges, you focus on the risk factor. And so many things, especially in delaying certain process. How do you assess the risk in that factor? Because, sometimes it takes time where even the visibility study or the financial figures might be affected. Where do you see your risk in that?
See, our due diligence process, the question is where you see the risks in a project, and there might be many factors which are not highlighted in the feasibility study. See, the process involves a detailed due diligence where we have specialized technical advisor, financial advisor, legal advisor, and we try to assess all the risks and we try to model the risks. We have used the financial model and see how those risks will be affected. So it's, the new, like yesterday somebody was saying about the social infrastructure. Social infrastructure has many different type of risks, which are not easy to highlight. Maybe a scale of project can be a risk. So each project can have its own kind of risks. We try to assess it using the assistance, taking the help of different advisors, and doing our own financial analysis, and try to present the same to the investor to the best of our ability. So if any new project which is not tested, doesn't have a template, will of course carry more risks, and it needs to be understood, it needs to be examined in more detail. Thank you for the question. Thank you very much for your time, and I'd like to hand over. Thank you.
كل الشكر والتقدير للسيد كبيل كومرا، ويسرنا أيضا أن ندعو السادة المهندس بدر السلمان والدكتور خالد مهدي لتكريم المتحدث في محاضرة اليوم حول عروض بنك الكويت الوطني لدعم تمويل المشاريع والشراكة بين القطاعين العام والخاص، السيد كبيل كومرا نائب الرئيس التنفيذي رئيس تمويل المشاريع والخبير المتخصص في هذا المجال لأكثر من 11 عاما من بنك الكويت الوطني.